you're playing tricks on.
This is Morning Express, and thank you for joining us. It is the 20th day of November 2015, and it's time for us to look at some of the hot topics. Later on, we're also going to be looking at the Nairobian and the Pulse. And well, joining me this morning is a very hot panel to discuss hot topics. Let me start by introducing the lady in white, looking all angelic.
Thank you.
And that is Adhiambo Odera, who is a pop culture specialist. Karibu sana.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
To your left, we have Solo Koko, who is editor with the Nairobian.
Yeah, writer.
Writer.
Yeah.
Oh, writer. What's the difference between a writer and an editor?
That's very something like that. When editor actually oversees everything, so
okay.
you don't.
For him, he just choras. He's a man with a pen.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least, we have Stephen Wendo, who is editor, writer with the Pulse.
And all those things.
Both.
Columnist.
And many other things. He also now has many like that.
The king.
Oh, and he doesn't say his other hat that he has for the Kenya Entertainment Journalists Association. Really, do I always have to remind you, Stevens, that you need to say that you said
Please tell us,
Secretary General?
what is that?
This thing is going to be launched very soon, and of course the Kenya Entertainment Journalists came together and formed an association which is about to be launched. Basically, it's a forum where guys discuss what's going on in the showbiz industry and just oversee everything and try to make everything better, work with the partners, other players in the industry. And so I being the Secretary General, that has already been said by somebody who just claimed that.
Congratulations. That's good. That's good.
We just had to put this out there because I think that just like all the, you remember the other time there was an issue with a parliamentary reporter or a political reporter. Whenever there's an issue with entertainment journalists, you know where to look for.
Absolutely. So I'm sure one of the things you discuss as an organization is also integrity in terms of what goes on, because there's a lot. I mean, I met some celeb of sorts the other day and it was like, why do you guys say stuff that is not true? So I don't know if that's something that you'll be looking into.
It's true, because at the end of the day there has to be integrity in the way we report our news. As much as entertainment, unlike other news like politics and everyday news, there's an element of sensation many times. There's an element of just showbiz as it is, but we keep saying that should not go beyond the levels where you would hurt an individual and not justify really why that happened. So we just say there should be sense, and a lot of sense in a day when everybody is a writer. Every day everybody can go to internet and place anything there. We are creating an industry that is vibrant, noticing that people make a living out of it, musicians and thespians and everybody involved. So it's basically having a platform where everybody can have a say.
Fantastic. When is this being launched?
Soon. Let me say soon. My chairman, or chairlady, I'm told it's actually chairman, Grace Kirongo from the Star is
organizing it. But there's a meeting this Sunday, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, we wish you all the best, and of course, now that you're here with us, you shall let us know as this continues to unfold and when it is launched. And if there's a party for the launch, of course, there are those like Adhiambo who would be willing to attend and give us information. All right, let's move on to the hot topics today, and let's start with good news, very good news. And the Matekes that were kicking inside a certain lady are no longer kicking inside, are now outside, and size 8.
Matekes, I like this. Yes, it was a big story yesterday after the great party that happened on Saturday.
Yeah, she had the baby shower.
Yeah. And I just remember the photos were running everywhere, size 8 and all that. And yesterday, Mateke kicked. Yeah. And it's a big story. I'm told little baby has a lot of followers right now already.
Yes. Baby had a name though, yeah? The name is already out. Yeah.
She's known as, let me see the full name. It's Belle Ladisha.
Congrats, guys.
Yeah, so unique name, Belle Ladisha. So congratulations to size 8 and DJ Mo. Yeah, DJ Mo.
Baba and Mama.
Ladisha.
Yes. And you had some of the pictures there, not of the baby, but the baby shower.
Yeah, the baby shower was quite nice.
It was quite nice.
Yeah, it was really quite. Oh my God.
I will have to tell you.
No, it's fine. It was like, you know. This is the thing about pregnancy and women. You know, you can stretch that much and still come back later and still look really awesome.
And go back to
It's really beauty. It's a wonder how it is.
And our story is still going on in past, right? Today, page 4. She talked many things that she kept on saying now. Sometimes she felt like I won't make it to month 9. And as she says, sometimes she had to approach Singer Wahoo to ask her how
are we reaching there?
How do guys get there?
No, it's difficult. I'm telling you, something is definitely interfering with every part of you that should be breathing.
You know, and the big story, becomes, and that was our other worry. Will I make it back to showbiz even after this happens? I'm a mother now. I'm a wife now. Fans are still asking for more of me. Right. Will I make it back and still have the whole energy about it?
I guess it's always a fear that one has, especially because you don't know how it's going to go after the baby comes, how much time you'll need to, give the baby. But we're wishing her all the best.
Actually, I don't even think it's going to be really hard for her because for the last couple of, months? She's been
very active.
Releasing some really good songs with good reviews. And I think this one will play for some time before she gets manages to come back to
She will. I think the beauty about women in show business or in any other business is that they actually do know how to juggle it. Whatever comes their way, they will be able to. Says 8, the moment she announced that she's expecting, everybody could have thought, my God, we can't Mateke anymore. But she was performing that song, I think, up to even last week, and she still was throwing that one, so she's going to get back. And I think people will be expecting a lot better. And there will be one more person she needs to please, will be still too little, but she'll get there. So congratulations, Size 8, DJ Mo, the entire gospel industry. I know people are just, it's a cacophony out there, but then we are happy that this happened and it happened safely. So
but let me ask, because we need to understand this. Does being a mother, a wife, slow showbiz for female artists?
Would it have? If that were the case, then some of us would have gone and can't be heard about. But I think it's a perspective that you yourself, as the person in that industry, have got to take. Either you've decided that, by the way, I was just passing time, and now that I am a mother and I am a wife, I no longer want to do this. Or you do know that this is your job. You go to work whether you have a child or not, whether your child has gone to school or not, or whether so you go to work. For them, it's work.
I think for anybody who does showbiz or is in showbiz out of a passion, it should not slow you down, because really all you've done is extend your family. If you've gotten married, like Steve, he's still going to be
slowing him down, is it?
I don't think it's slowing him down. If anything, it's going to make
work harder.
And now when the baby comes, which of course Steve, we are hoping it's soon. We are hoping that you're doing all that needs to be done. But
and not slowing down.
And not slowing down. Yeah, exactly. That's it's a beautiful job, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good
Can't help it.
Yeah. So, to answer your question, Steve, I don't think it slows you down. There you go. All right, sticking with the music industry, we also have Sauti Sol. First of all, won Afrima, which was really good.
Yes.
These guys are just on a roll. There's no slowing them down.
It's their year. And for me, I would like to twist that a little bit and say that East Africa, ideally, really did us really proud at the Afrimas, because I saw Diamond there, of course. It's shining better than the Diamond. And you say there was another artist from Kenya. What's this artist's name? There's somebody else who actually... Yes, he also won something. Right. And then Chameleon also won something. So and then Vanessa Mdee also won something. So East Africa was I think if I was there with them, I would have told them, you need to look at those Nigerians from that side, and you need to stand on this side and say, yes, we just got this.
Actually, for the first time in Lagos itself, where when Kenyans, and we go there to have events, because they organize most of the events, the biggest events right now, you go there and you just think we are just going there as others, because most of the time they scoop all the world. If it's not them, it's the South Africans.
Right.
and if it's not the South Africans, then they're all sharing. East Africa is not the guy that you always thought would win. But this time, even if you would see even the updates from Nigeria, they were very disappointed. How do you explain in Lagos and P Square is there running against Sauti Sol? These guys from Kenya, and they just decided, we're taking this thing home, and they were like, let's go.
It's literally like a football match. You win, or rather you lose when you're at home for Nigerians.
I remember they did, and it was at the Ek Hotel. You know how that is always such a Bristly, event, and they also really totally dressed up. There were also others who had attended, like Ohangla Makade and Susanna.
DNG was always there.
Yes.
Young boy called Papa Denise was actually performing.
Yes. East Africa was.
And it's because we've really been quiet, and the domination from the West African and the South African, because it's been actually a tag, if not a collabo, is slowly now being pierced, and East Africa is making noise. But I think more importantly for Kenyans and East Africans is to really understand what Africa is listening to. Look at what Diamond is doing, look at what Vanessa Day is doing, look at what Sauti Sol is doing, and then probably if we channel it that way, then, because I really feel saddened sometimes when I watch some stations, some African stations, and then all we can see in the top 10 is either South African or Nigerian.
But also talking about the station, if you notice, these guys actually package themselves in a way that they have a dominance, even in those international entertainment channels. Sometimes there was a claim that Nigerians have actually bought trays and all that, because when you just tune in there, all you can see is Nigerian music. But I don't think it's time for us to keep on complaining.
Let's do it.
Let's just do it.
Let's churn out things that are beautiful, like the one that Sauti Sol is going to launch today. By the way, I am told that song is off the hook. And did you see the photo that they put out? The cover photo.
Some of the photos for the photo shoot for the new album.
It's really awesome. It makes you want to imagine that they truly believed that they want to live.
Do you have an idea of what sort of genre it is? Because Sauti Sol, the good thing about them, you really can never predict what kind of a song it's going to be.
What is clear
all you know is that it's going to be.
What is clear that is you see that the hashtag is live and die in Africa. Live and die in Africa.
So it's definitely here in Africa.
And from the photo shoot, yes, it looks very African.
Well, today is a listening party, and I think what is really coming out. This is an album launch, actually.
Yes, it's now the album.
And the way Sauti Sol are being packaging themselves, from my own view, is that they are this great boy band from Africa. They don't want to say we are behaving like the West. You've seen them dressing, and you've seen all those photos. We are from Kenya. We not try to make it look like we come from across there. And I think even the sounds that they've been bringing from the songs and videos, even when they went Vigilant and little thing, I think they just want to have a sound that comes from Kenya and from Africa to Baba. And I think that is what we have lacked for many days. And we remember Mafikizolo and the other big band from South Africa. What was it called? The men who used to dance the little
man
Zulu thing. There is no way we'll win the hearts of the world if we keep on aping what is coming from the West, because that is not us. We need to give the world ourselves, and I think that's what Sauti Sol is doing, and you can see how they're respected everywhere in the world.
The good thing is that they've remained very consistent. They've continued to churn out one song after another that is just a hit, one after the other.
Let's actually say consistent and daring. Remember there's a time there's all this controversy about the Nishike video. And you see, one thing I'd like to urge Kenyans is let's just stand with our own instead of all the time criticizing. You remember that time a lot of people backed off and said we're not going to listen to these guys, they're now becoming immoral, and we are so quick to judge than to
appreciate the art.
Exactly.
Because
and then all of a sudden they start winning awards, because when Nishike won the award for
those were men, girls loved those
Exactly. No. It doesn't matter who is supporting or where the support. Yeah.
We were okay with it.
Well, the ladies were very happy,
okay
of
with
course.
Can we play?
But Team Mafisi, the ones who are unfit.
So the Mafisi, how is the
You don't
Mafisi,
understand
how
why.
is the Mafisi female version?
Yeah, it's called Mafiset.
So we must have been sitting on the Mafisi.
I thought Team Mafisi is not so, they're not like, cubes like South Soul, come on.
Team Mafisi.
They're just somewhere there.
Team Mafisi in Kenya, they take a lot of beer. So
So they have one part.
they only have one smoke
They have time to go in this.
an integrated food stack.
No, but generally, I think let's look forward to that album. There's something happening. I think it's between 6 and 8, and then there's a press conference later on. I'm sure next week there will be lots of stories. Yes, it's
The listening party. The listening party. Yes. Okay. And any snippets? Has anybody listened to it? Do you know, like? Give
I have, but I won't say.
Well, let's say we have a few songs that we expect. We have the latest jam that's doing very well. It's called Isabella. I think that one is going to be part of that. We have Bam Bam, which was released about a month and a half ago. Well, I can almost predict what we're going to have, but expect a lot of variety because they're always full of surprises. Because these boys are so talented. All of them.
It's useful.
All right. Now, moving on to something else that I found very interesting, and this was tweeting, I believe it was either yesterday or the day before, and this was a Kenyan found in South Africa strapped with meat. I mean, Kenya sometimes, they go to great extents, and there's a picture right there of the guy as he was arrested. I don't know what was going on with this. Did anybody manage to follow up and find out what he was trying to get up to?
Well, clearly, if you see, it's self-explanatory. Because if you see someone strapping meat on their body, they're not trying to get fat. They're trying to take it away. Yeah. But well, we've seen a lot of these things happening online. Because I remember now footage of
that's meat inside green leaves.
Yeah. It looks like they're working in a meat factory.
It looks like it's fat now.
And then they strap themselves.
Yeah.
So the watchman must have wondered, huyu aliingia akiwa mkonde. Mbona anatoka kama amenona?
But you know now, if you're saying it's in South Africa, then you do know, which area was this, Joburg? Because you know that there is the Nyama Choma area, which is inhabited by many people that you know. Yes? Yes, by the way. If you go there, you actually eat the Nyama Choma like the way you would go to Jogona's.
Yeah.
And actually it has the same taste like this.
What they do is we have a lot of outside barbecue areas where you just come.
I know this guy walks in there and then there's his like a brother that came from this side and now he goes and he gets
But that's a lot of meat. How do you work yourself so around?
Dude, you know, all those things you have got to deal with it.
And of course he must have been working with somebody because I cannot imagine he wrapped himself.
He did, yes.
Somebody must have been there, wrapping it around. But hassle is real.
Hassle.
South Africa, Kenya has got it. Meat, South African again. Diamond actually was being robbed. Not Diamond, but the little boy from Nigeria.
Davido.
Was robbed a lot of money there over the weekend.
What was he doing?
In South Africa.
But that was his manager. Manager was scared of the money.
Was bored of them. And you know the way you stop traffic lights? And I think they betrayed, trading them all this time because they're carrying money bags. And they stop traffic and they see two guys and they just like, you guys open this, and they broke the windows and jumped in and picked everything.
They were in dollars, not Nigeria.
They said they were in many currencies. In the story again, it's in a pound.
No, but anyway, every progressive city, and you do know that even Nairobi has its statistics sometimes about robbery during such times. I am sure they are doing something about it, but sometimes Joburg is pretty scary though. It's pretty scary though sometimes.
It's called Gangsters Paradise.
Yeah, it's pretty scary.
GP, their car registration is GP, Gangsters Paradise. Although that's meant to be Gauteng probably.
Yeah, by the way,
I just call it Gangsters
Paradise. Yeah, and it's only in South Africa, where especially in some areas, if you're driving and say a lady has a handbag on the chair, they literally can break the glass.
You have to just get
they're quite, very, very ruthless and very brave. So if you're going to Joburg, just be careful. Just, you know, keep...
They just stick to your hotel and stay in those hotels that you actually look at Santon like this, you cross that was Santon. That was Santon. No, but you don't go in the car. You just look at the hotel, you know, the Holiday Inn card, high, cross over, go to Mandela Square.
Every city has its issues. And I'm sure there are people who think Nairobi is just literally paradise. Whereas we know that you can...
I don't think we're rated that high, actually.
No, we're good. We walk on the grass.
You're arrested when you walk on
Nairobi is the New York of this side of the world.
Yeah, because if you compare Nigeria and like Lagos and Nairobi, well, Lagos is pretty much corrupt and dangerous.
Kampala?
Kampala is...
Kampala. The good thing with Kampala, guys, if you speak in excellent English, then they will not rob you.
No, you just
know
Kampala.
You are a foreigner.
Solo. You are a foreigner. And Kampala. You know Solo and Kampala, and you're not saying why. But you know, I don't know if you actually do have, now that we're talking about interesting situations in the world, did you see Charlie Sheen? And his, you know, the 2.5 million guy. I mean, he came out and he's HIV positive. And you know, he actually, you know, I love how Charlie Sheen just, you know, the smirk on his face every time. You know, he's never quite serious. You're not sure if he was serious or if he wasn't serious. And then he has now just come out and said that the virus can't be detected.
So is he actually positive or not?
No, he is. You see, I mean, he says he doesn't have AIDS. Yes. So, but after, you know, taking medication, he cannot, you know, you can't quite detect it. And his physician was actually there with him on the Today Show, you know, backing him up. And of course, several women, you know him as somebody who was always with the one woman today and
very controversial,
and all that. I mean, Solo, you know.
I saw running on the Pulse WhatsApp group. There's quite a discussion, and there's but guys have always known this.
Somebody, yes, but and somebody was blackmailing. You see this, like, we know this, and we know you've been with like 5 women,
right?
Yeah, and all those women are now saying, you know, you knowingly infected us, or you didn't disclose your status. You know, there's a law like that. I think even here about the fact that if I knowingly know something and then I hook up with Solo and I don't tell Solo, then Solo can go to court.
Yeah, and so.
Yeah. So let's now look at something else. Now back to Kenya, and very sad, Harambee Stars, which of course was one of the big topics this week, given that on Friday they actually left late for a match. And I mean, it was sad, especially for me. What made it really sad is when they came back, rather before they came back, we lost, was it 2-0? Yes. And guys were like, in fact, they've done well, they would have lost more. And given that, of course, the conditions which they had to go through before playing the game.
Well, I waited for the match until late at night, and you know, I was only saddened to imagine that these guys had only landed in Cape Verde 3 hours prior to the game. You can imagine so many stopovers. Sijui kama hiyo ndege ilikuwa inaekwa mafuta ya 70 because they would go stop somewhere in Ethiopia, then stopover in Nigeria, and then stop I don't know where. But I mean, I think we're not serious with this thing because...
Yeah, and of course the brand here, or rather the FKF and the Ministry of Sports, because they're now throwing blame at each other.
Yes. With
FKF saying that they didn't get money on time, with the Ministry saying that they gave 17 million by, I think, was it Tuesday, for the money to be released. So of course they blame them, but at the end of the day, our football needs to be taken care of. It is a national sport. It is the most popular game.
It is the most entertaining thing. I mean, I think you cannot separate entertainment from football and the people who are actually there. If you ask me, I think that is the best way to match fix. Just make it impossible for the boys to win.
But you know, watching the game, I actually agree with those people who say that 2-0 was actually a very, very good result for us, because I started watching the game and 30 seconds.
Some Tanzanians had 7.
Within 30 seconds, they had already hit the post. And now when the winds there were crazy, they had not trained, you know, they were still tired. 2-0 was actually a relief for me. I thought we would almost go down the way Tanzania went down to the Algerians, like 7-0.
7-0.
Yeah,
It was like basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, football is one youthful game, and again, something good for the young people. When you try to kill the game of football in Kenya, and we already having likes of Safaricom having academies, and everybody tried to create academies, and then you look at the top, it's so rotten at this time. I don't think that can be excused at this point. We're supposed to be going to election for
Actually, yes. But you know the thing about it, for me, I think what came out nicely from like online and Kenyans on Twitter was how everybody was congratulating the boys. In fact, I think the hashtag Rohoju was what was
And
trending.
today we're going to see the president today?
And because they tried, you know, you arrive there, you have nothing. You don't even know whether you will be paid your allowances, which have not been paid since eons, but you got there, you were willing, they sat. None of them was walking out or throwing a tantrum or even saying any of
In
this.
fact,
They were just there.
I spoke to a former footballer yesterday, and one of the things that came out is that these guys purely play for the love of the game.
Yes.
It is not to do with the money, it is not to do with anything, not even recognition, because they don't get any of that. It's purely for the love of the
It
game.
was supposed to be double celebration for us.
Yeah, because we won the rugby gold into Ghana, and then now
and we're celebrating all this thing. Then around us, as this happens, I mean, really.
So something needs to be done.
Something will be done eventually when we are angry enough to actually go and uproot those people who think they own or actually are like football, and them is part of their, you know, like it's their name. It's you can't uproot. It's sickening.
And both are to blame. I cannot see who to relieve here, because the government and FKF, even the government hosting or the president hosting them today is a little bit too late. I mean, the game should have gone to status before. Things should have been in place by then, you know.
We just hope that his hosting them will kick off something that will improve things from here forthwith. But now, finally, before we go to the Pulse and the Nairobian, there's a movie that's going to be shot in Kenya. Nikki has confirmed. This is one of the stars is Angelina Jolie.
And
Actually, she's
directing.
Yeah, she's directing it. She made a directing debut.
And the one who's the star lead role is the husband, is Brad Pitt. But these are again just rumors which are being not yet confirmed, but they're being pushed, as Chris Foot said, and Richard Leakey is the one who actually said that something could be in the pipeline. But I can only imagine what it's going to do to the industry, to the film industry as well. I think it's going to encourage, just days after we came back from the Kalasha Awards, you know, and we're having such big stars.
Movie awards are coming up.
Also coming up
The match
2 weeks.
So, you know, there's going to be a lot of massive talent left behind, and a lot of education. And
revenue as well.
Yes,
revenue as well.
definitely. Because you do know that most of these movies are shot elsewhere. I think you remember Angelina Jolie for Tomb Raider, and at that point it wasn't shot at all here. Or anything, and I'm sure she probably is looking at the Cradle of Mankind. We do not know how that script is looking like. We're probably going to have some people from this country also helping out with scripting. We're probably going to have people who are doing the grips. We're going to have people who are interning the PAs, and some actors, and just it's massive. If that does happen here, then it's one of those things to boast about and be associated with. And it could take a year to just really shoot that.
And I can
really good.
I can pick this up from a discussion that Jeff and Oliver Vitono, is that right?
Yes, yeah.
We were discussing last night about the movies and all that. That's a guy who's been to Hollywood.
Yes.
Great broadcaster and all. And they're just talking about what implications you get as a country when you have such a great movie being shot here. One, you are that destination now everybody trusts as a place of beauty and
marketing,
and all that.
Marketing and
then to the, like you're saying, the money that is left in that country. And we're talking about this in a time when movies whose themes have been taken from Kenya actually be shot in other countries, in South Africa and all that. And you ask why they keep on telling you the times here are so tough for them. I think bureaucracy sort of kind of thing, and the kind of money you are asked to do that. And I think the government came out sometimes and said we are trying to lower this kind of arrangements and stuff. But I think it's time we look at movie industry. Kenya, a land of beauty, where you have all the kind of wonders you can have in the world. I think we need to package ourselves and say we can have this
It's a great
things and
opportunity
stuff.
even for the tourism industry because
Yes, it's
of
huge.
course it would open us up to the world in terms of if these guys can go and shoot there, then of course it is a safe place. So it would be a
We're
very
looking
great
forward,
thing
we
if that
welcome it.
happens.
If it is a small rumor, then let it not be a rumor, let it just actually happen.
The thing is with
you know,
rumors in Kenya, I think about 90%
you should come back.
by the time they're getting there, it's probably got some truth. So, Steve Bando, please take us through the Pulse today and why we should be getting ourselves a copy of the Pulse.
And by the way, most of those stories we'll be discussing today are in Pulse. We have Says 8 here, and we have Avril was launching our new song also. That was attended by quite big guys. We had AY from Tanzania, we had Red Sun from Kenya. But apart from that, the big story is quite the one. It's Confessions of a Taxi Driver, and by Felix.
It's a big story right there.
Oh, the Confessions of a Taxi Driver.
Right. I mean, guys have just to get this paper, sit somewhere with a cup of coffee and read. But can you just imagine this guy, taxi driver, is always, most of the times, I know guys have their cab drivers, but most of the times, for guys who are going out there, he's a stranger.
Yeah, and I know I've not read the story yet, but it is actually a phenomenon in the fact that taxi drivers are always like a fly on the wall. Guys will sit on the back seat and talk about anything and everything.
They're very,
Ignore the guy.
and totally ignore the guy as though he does not have ears.
You know,
And the other good thing is they're also very free with information once you're very
But if
close
you
to them.
know, actually, if you go anywhere in the world, and I think that is why this is really a beautiful story. Like if you just landed in Lagos, for example, and you got a cab, by the time you got into your hotel, if you are talking with this cab driver, you have known everything that is happening. If you needed a fix of this or a fix of that and any other fix in between, you guys know.
And obviously, a gamble will know about fixes because that's what she asked for. But I would ask for other things of entertainment, you know.
Which tools are going to
and this guy, the taxi guys know a lot of stuff about tools of entertainment. They know the places. And this guy just talks about, sometimes the girls will come and go in and say, by the way, siko poa. As in,
That dropped me somewhere.
the money is not enough,
Lakini tunaweza
but we can talk.
tunaweza ongea about this.
And you're talking.
And you're thinking, I need money.
Talk, but they might talk.
Oh, I know. Or rather, you can do it.
No, the instruments are not instruments. They talk. So a lot of stuff, the hilarious stuff. I don't know where Felix Kavi is our photographer also and has a lot of time out there. And I think
a cab.
Remember,
his own
taxi
experience.
drivers,
in a cab.
they also know robbers and the way they count money or before they make a deal, if they're making a phone call and all that stuff. I mean, just like you said, they're just that fly on the wall. And this one has been very, very
I wonder why the intelligence never used taxi drivers.
well. Who said they don't?
They do.
Okay.
They do, by the way. They do. Those guys, they do. And you never know.
Definitely make a good read. And I see here even says that Mwangi had robbers counting cash in the taxi. These four guys had just executed a robbery mission when Mwangi was when he picked them up. So again, just to emphasize that they are just a fly on the wall. These guys literally didn't care that Mwangi was listening. Although sometimes it can. There's also the dangers of being a taxi driver. Because you pick strangers who you have no clue what they are.
Mike, I have a friend, or taxi guy I used to know, who got hired by these guys and they were driving all the way to Wamulu, a deep company, and he didn't know they were going to rob some place. And you know the way you drop them and they tell you give us 5 minutes, and the next thing he has a gunshot and they're coming towards his car and you're thinking, those are not my guys.
No, they're your guys. You brought them. Now you need to help them escape.
No.
And you need to explain to everybody, the police and everybody, that
what your role was and what you
You're the one, the
know.
driver wake us. You know what they say, the driver wake up.
And not forgetting that they also get jacked and the cars disappear and all that. There's so many dangers of being a taxi
I
driver.
think it's a very, very beautiful. You need to be brave to do that. So anyway, Confessions of a Taxi Driver. You must get the Pulse and get the details of what taxi drivers go through. And also, the next time you take your cab, just be careful.
and of course a lot of gossip out there. I don't want us to give out everything. And so yes, Mavado is coming to Kenya and the Pulse Awards are here. So
This itself for this.
all the parts and get to know all the motion there around town. We have beautiful Brenda there, new show, Joe Carly and his new house, and the story we're talking about, Davido, and Kenzo being fought for by women in the club last Friday.
Yes, Kenzo.
You know.
Okay, so there you have it, the parts. It's really got a lot more. I mean, the Sudi boy there, Salma was my everything. You've got the full story on Avril, and she talks about being the real me.
Yes. She talks about being the real me. You know the situation she had last year.
Yeah.
She posted something.
Yes, Actually, it was, there's a lot of body shaming and skin shaming and several other things that people want you to look a certain way. And I think what Avril is doing is to show that, when she doesn't have makeup on, she's not just that girl. And she has struggles like every other girl about her insecurities. And I like that she can come out even when it's about just singing it out and talking with her, with her fans. She's real. She's real. And she has that really nice, very nice voice. It's just really nice. There's a way she talks, and you will believe her. So I like the direction.
And big up to the pin-up bio. MC Jose in the pads looking.
Jose.
Yeah, MC Jose. It's from Usiku Sako and Jose.
What was it?
Usiku Sako.
Usiku Sako?
Yes.
There's a Usiku Sako?
That's the biggest entertainment thing right now happening, doing events all over the country. And DJ
So when you explain this, because when you say Usiku Sako,
the night runners.
these guys,
Yes.
I don't know where they were last night.
The night runners.
And I find the price is already posted somewhere at around midnight.
Usiku Sako operates at 9. Like, I'm sure right now they'll catch this interview much later.
Yeah,
Because what happened is they got the paper, they posted it online, they've been talking about it, moved on. Then close to 7 a.m. everybody goes
blackout.
Everybody goes quiet until sometime around 3 o'clock and you see the first high.
No, by the way, it's 12 or it's 1 and it's good morning.
Let's just call them nocturnal. All right, get yourself a copy of the pulse. So, Solo,
Yes.
let's see what's in the Nairobian. And we have here, first of all, front page. Sorry, wife, I slept with my patient's doctor. What's that all about?
Well, this is the story of an eye clinic doctor, actually, very, very weird, who confessed to the wife leads the divorce case. Was apologizing to the wife after she buzzed him with condoms and sexual enhancers. Okay. And now he wrote to her personally saying, "I'm really sorry. You busted me with these things. I had an intent of using them, but blah blah."
He talked to her, he wrote to her.
Yeah, he wrote to her.
Actually wrote a letter. That guy wanted
He wrote an apology letter.
No, that guy wanted a divorce. Why would you write?
Yeah.
And it was specifically using them on patients.
Well, their claims. She says that there are like a few patients who actually confessed. The time she had some funny noises in the clinic, and amidst confronting the patient, she actually confessed in that the doctor was trying to assault her sexually. Assault her sexually. So what happened is, again, he says he wrote down an apology saying he's a sex addict. He goes to court and says that's not true. But the bottom line is what is really happening to the health sector.
This would be very sad. I mean, previously we had the gynecologist,
Yes.
and of course,
is it Mugo?
Then another.
yeah, and now this one is an eye doctor. So I'm
Yes.
just trying to see the connection between eyes and.
He has an eye for
He
something.
was probably telling the patients,
He has an eye for.
funga macho.
He has an eye for something.
He's telling,
But your eyes are supposed to be
telling his clients,
It's not funny.
funga macho.
It's not. It's not even related because eyes, you've gone there. Okay.
No, it's really sad, and well, the other sad bit is how to identify a rogue doctor, a rogue clinic, and such things, because
You just have to have a public campaign.
because when someone has a health condition,
And the doctors and dentists would really should come strong on this thing, because
Exactly.
honestly, you walk into a doctor's place very vulnerable, and you entirely trust that they will do the right thing. So
Yes.
for them to get to a point where now they abuse women and maybe men, maybe the men are yet to come out, we don't know yet.
wanaume will probably be showing up with
Mr.
some
Njoka will
statistics.
probably show us a few notes. So yeah, but also before we continue on the Nairobi and page 2, 10 things Pope Francis should pray for in Kenya.
And you know, we are all waiting for Papa to come into the country.
Yes,
we're all waiting. We saw they're making his very, very expensive robes. But what we're focusing here is, you know, all those troubles that, on a light note, that we are facing as Kenyans. Probably Papa should pray for some of them so that the nation can help in national healing.
Did it include the one that, you know?
I think the one that he should really pray for is these church groups that are posting some funny things, wrong message on WhatsApp. I think he should really pray for
what was his name?
Ochola, Brother Ochola.
Brother Ochola is attending. Brother Ochola is attending the mass.
The job I know.
He's resurrecting.
But also, I think the Pope knows it.
The Pope now knows that Jehovah Wanyonyi got lost or died by himself, or one of those things.
But it's also important to note that since Kidero did not grow that grass for potters, and he said he's growing
for the pontiff.
For the pontiff, it's not grown yet. I think the Papa should also pray for the grass, Kidero's grass.
But then we're also praying for data bundles. Are we praying for data bundles?
All right. So no, before you go to the next thing that you're going to talk about in the Nairobian, I'm just wondering, I think was it in America that the Pope was picked in, I'm trying to remember what type of
It was a very small car.
very small car. So I'm wondering whether in Kenya maybe we would...
He's been known to be very humble. I know we cannot carry the Pope in a Probox. Please, I think that one people will have to intervene. But he's been known to be very humble. He's been known to really associate with the people who are regarded in society as low. And you know, there was even that prepared trip to Kangemi where
he has to.
He's going.
He's a jurist, so he has to meet with people.
But we're really waiting to see what car he's going to ride in. I just hope it's not going to be a Probox.
It will be a small car.
Okay.
Well, we'll wait and see. Maybe for me, my guess would be a Mercedes. At least
I don't think so. No, he's not going to do a pimped car.
It's the only place you can do this.
He's not going to.
Or maybe a Land Rover.
And you know, he's also known to stand by the roadside to give some blessings whenever he sees. I think I'll probably do it. But you never know where it will catch me.
So anything else that we need to know about?
Well, very quickly, I'd want us to look at the capital picture on page 28. And this one is a very interesting one by Kate and Kay. And you see, the capital feature, it says, "Sorry, I'm not getting married, and I don't want kids." And we're looking at women at this age. Not only the women, but even the men who are opting to stay single. Sometimes because of the pressures of society, maybe you think it's too late. Maybe you're thinking you've not earned enough money to start raising a kid because you say you're middle class and you want to have your kids raised in better standards, and all these pressures. But we are also thinking, where do men nowadays think they'll get women to marry? Because you know, which is the safest place.
The men are in the bar. So
there are those who get from church, there are those who get from a friend's party, there are those who get from the office.
Maybe still just got tied the other day probably.
So where did you get here?
Yeah, he can advise me.
Again, you guys. I mean, let's not. I know there is a class of people, or the class of thinking, where new age people think that marriage is not a thing for new age, you know, and there's that thought, and it comes with the changing society and trends that. Now I can be a woman who is independent, and as it was perceived before, that I get married to this man also to get empowered and stuff. And I think it's a whole topic that we cannot.
It's actually really a huge one.
But as we wind up, because time is really up, that will make an interesting week for all of us, because it seems like that's where we are today. Actually, and there are people who are actually opting and saying, I don't want to get married, I don't want children, I just want to be me.
Some is not even I don't want. some are just scared. It's called gamophobia. Gamophobia is
Even a name for it.
yes,
fear of getting married.
the fear of getting married.
rest
It's called gamophobia. Naogopa kushikwa na gam.
Ati gamo.
Very much panel for going through the hot topics with us today, and that is Steve Mwendo, who is an editor and also a writer with the Pulse. We have Adhiambo Odera, who is a pop culture specialist, and last but not least, Solo, who is also a writer for the Nairobian. Thank you very much. Our plans for the weekend in like 1 second.
Okay, barbecue festival will be happening this weekend.
Goodness, that famous girls thing, it's good.
Adhiambo, plans for the weekend? Open weekend. Steve, bonding?
Open, but Saudi summer today.
That's definitely good.
It's a definite.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Well, that's where we wind up Morning Express this morning, and thank you for joining us. But do stay with us. We've got News Hour coming up in just a bit.